Okay, and I think we're about ready to, we're getting set up.
It says we're live.
All right, and we are live on YouTube. So welcome to our webinar. Hopefully a few of you will be attending. If not, you'll be viewing it later on. So my name is Pascal Fettig. I'm the President and CEO of Mental Health America. And today we're going to talk a little bit about fitness and mental health, basically whole health. We're strong believers in whole health, and we want to talk a little bit about how the latest restrictions of the COVID-19 is affecting all of the mental health and the physical health. So I'm going to introduce you to some of my panelists. We'll start with Katie. Please tell everybody a little bit about who you are and who you work for.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Pollock. I'm the Senior Vice President and Attorney for Mental Health America, Boone County. I work with Pascal on all things mental health in our building, grant writing and working with survivors of domestic violence, and just working with the public in general, helping them access mental health services. It's nice to be here, and thanks for attending our webinar.
Well, thank you, Christian.
Hi, I'm Christian. I'm the Communications Director at Mental Health, as well as the Wellness Director. I usually just look over the social media, make sure we're putting stuff out there to kind of help reach out to people's stuff, as well as developing some workouts and stuff that kids can do. Right now, just really trying to focus on in-home workouts that are family friendly and stuff like that. Really excited to be here.
All right, thank you. And Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim Noonan. I'm the Executive Director with the Witham Family YMCA, and been in the Y over 30 years, so have a lot of experience with all different kinds of things that we do at the Y, and I'm excited to be here today.
Well, thank you very much. And then our newcomer, or at least new to us, Kyle, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. I'm fairly new to Witham, but I've been with the Y for about 4 years. My specialty, my background is in personal training, kind of exercise, but I'm recently the Wellness and Sports Director over there at Witham, so hoping to, I guess, contribute where I can, and weird time to transition, but I'm here, so.
Well, welcome and thank you for joining us. And I imagine we'll probably talk quite a bit, not just today, but over time and as we reopen. I don't know if you're aware of it, and all of you out there. Mental Health America of Boone County is located in Lebanon, and we have what I would consider a strong partnership with the Witham Services YMCA because we believe in whole health. And later on, we'll let everybody give you emails or a website or things like that to where you can contact them so you can basically cover your needs. But right now, what I want to talk about is, so in my opinion, and by the way, this is going to be kind of a discussion format. We'll have questions for each other, I'm sure. If we have any attendees, go ahead and put your question, and if we have questions down, and if we have time, we'll go ahead and answer them. But if not, like I said, we're going to give you our emails, so you can email us your questions, and we'll try to do the best we can. So the mental health benefit of exercise, I will say, have long been overlooked in our society because in favor of the pursuit of physical excellence. So let's face it, you go to a gym because you want to look good. Where we come from, we feel that you need to go to the gym, not just to look good, but to feel good. And the feel good, I think, part has a lot to do with not only your fitness, but your mental health aspect of it. So I'll just jump right in and throw out a question because I feel that this day and age, with one of our panelists, you know what, I'll stop for a minute. As soon as he gets on, I'll let him introduce himself. But one of the things that we're dealing with this day and age with all the restriction of this COVID-19 is we're getting a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression that has been created by this. Some of it, people were already in treatment because of it, but some of the individuals that have never had mental health issues are starting to feel that anxiety and depression. So I'll ask the physical fitness gurus that we have on. How do you feel about the ability to be able to exercise, maybe keeping depression at bay? Would you agree that that would help a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, any little bit can definitely go help with the mental aspect of it, especially more in line with like aerobic exercise and stuff, cardiovascular fitness and stuff like that can really help boost mental health and stuff like that, make you feel better, help cut down on stress and stuff like that.
Kim?
I definitely think that just getting out there and taking care of yourself, not only like Pascal mentioned, hoping to look better and lose a little weight or whatever, but it's definitely helps us with our stress. And I don't even think we even realize that when we're working out or just with other people and outside, whether you're running outside or walking or at the gym, definitely helps the stress level and just makes you feel better. And I'm sure Kyle has better things to say since he's more of an expert than I am in that realm.
I mean, I think you guys both kind of hit the nail on the head. For me, I like to speak from personal experience. When I notice in myself when I go days skipping the gym or without the gym, I notice my just overall mood is down and my outlook is, more negative than positive. And simple, quick, whatever it is, kind of workout usually can pick me right back up. So, and I noticed, a lot of people reaching out to me when this all kind of started, just saying, hey, what are you doing at home doing for this? Because for some people, it is their de-stress. It is their, relief after a long, tough day. And so to not have that or not have access to that is really tough for some people. So tough for me.
Okay. Now, we just had another one of our panelists come on, Rob Adams. Rob, can you hear us? Rob, if you can hear us, you may be muted, and we definitely don't have your video. I don't either. So if you've never used Zoom before, over the left bottom corner, you'll see there is a microphone and a video, and you can turn it back on. So until we can hear back from him, we'll move on. So I've done a little bit of research, not a bunch. Our core duty is domestic violence and mental health, and we're just recently really have been pushing more towards the whole health. But several studies, and this is a concern of mine about right now, have found a connection between mental health and overall body weight. So obviously, because we're isolated, we may be eating more, and we're not doing what we need to do, and that may create more not only negative physical health, but if they already have poor mental health, it's going to increase the depression, the anxiety, pain, anger, bad temper, you name it. Really creates some change the positive mind to a more of a negative mind. So what would you say people need to do to help themselves a little bit more while they're stuck at home and thinking that there's nothing they can do when in fact there should be?
Well, I think something as simple as just going for a walk, maybe around your house, just getting outside, take your family for a little stroll, that little bit of exercise there, really, no matter how long it is, can help kind of boost your mental health and stuff like that, help you feel more positive. Getting outside is good for you, being in the sun, stuff like that.
I personally think, and this kind of, I guess, opened my eyes a little bit, having a plan B and having just backup plans to your routine. Because I think we get so set in, I do this muscle group and cardio on this day, blah, blah, blah. And I know that I have access to that equipment. And as soon as it's taken away from me, even with my expertise and background, I'm still just kind of sitting there with my hands up, not knowing what to do. So for me, it was coming up with, reliable alternatives. And I definitely agree. I've been taking walks, which I've never done before, but just getting myself outside of the house has done wonders for me. And just seeing the sun and seeing that there is some sunny days in Indiana right now has been kind of nice. But yeah, I think finding and then getting creative, realizing, most people can get fairly good at home exercise with just their body weight and stuff that you have lying around the house. And just taking the time to look into those things rather than saying, I need a set of dumbbells or I need, a gym membership. So.
Well, thank you. And Kim, would you want to chime in here?
The only thing I had to add to that is just for me personally, I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos and looking online for different classes and just trying everything. I'm not a group exercise person, never have been. I grew up an athlete and always worked in teams. And so I'm learning. I've used the garage, I've used my basement, I've used my living room, anywhere from a yoga class to a strength class to just working on my abs. It's been an experience this last month of just trying all different kinds of things. And like what Kyle said, even just whatever's laying around the house. If I don't have any weights, I'll grab some soup cans or a heavy shampoo bottle and try that. So it's been an interesting journey. I'll say that much. And
so we're kind of talking to what I would consider experts in the field. I mean, this is what you guys do. Your fitness is very important to you, and it's not only part of your lifestyle, but it's part of your career. So I'm not going to say it's easy, but it might be a little bit easier. But when you have somebody, well, even like myself, but somebody that may have some mental health issue, it's really easy for them to go into negative emotions. And it's been known that negative emotions will cause fatigue, it will cause high blood pressure, depression, anxiety. But the fatigue part is really connected to motivation. So what would you tell people that have mental health issues, or whether they're ongoing or they are just newly created, because that's happening quite a bit from our talks with some of our clinical partners. What would you tell them to do to kind of enhance their ability to get motivated? Because if you've got mental health issues and your emotions are all over the place, the depression and the fatigue, just fatigue. Let's get away from the anxiety and anything of the DSM. Just fatigue. It's really hard to get up and get going. You just want to sit there and binge on bonbons and watch TV. What would you tell them?
I think one of the best things you can do is just start slow. Definitely with fitness, it's not going to be something that's just like a light switch that you flip on and automatically start feeling better. So if you just find something that you're able to do, whether it be, just while you're watching TV, if there's commercial breaks, you can stand up, sit down on the couch, just do that repeatedly, stuff like that. As the time progresses and moves on, you will feel better. You feel more calm, relaxed. You will have more energy to work out regularly. So just find something small to start doing, do that. And then as that gets easier, you can add something else in and just keep moving forward that way.
I agree with Christian. And I'd also, I'm not a big advocate for, finding your motivation. I more look at my clients and I've seen more success finding kind of their why. Because for me, motivation comes in waves. And it's very easy for me to lose motivation at times, especially given circumstances. This COVID is a perfect example of it. I mean, if you had me as a friend on Apple Watch, you'd see that there are some days that I really have not moved that much around. So for me, it's kind of going back to why I'm doing what I'm doing. Am I doing it for, internal health reasons? Am I doing it for extrinsic reasons or extrinsic reasons? And kind of referencing that. So writing down goals, I think, is huge for me, or writing down things that I need to accomplish. If I don't put pen to paper, I'm way more likely to not get them done than if I do. So coming back to those whys and why I'm doing it, remembering how I felt after a good workout and, referencing those things, those are to me the most motivating things. Like I said, it ebbs and flows, at least for me. So
yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Now, I think, Katie, I'm going to throw you under the bus. We talked a little bit prior, and you had come up with what I considered a great question. Would you like to throw it out there?
Absolutely. It's probably somewhat related to the question you just asked, although it's more geared toward just people who are new to fitness in general. So if someone during this pandemic has been at home and decided that now is a good time to start working out because they have more time, but they don't know where to start or what to do or what resources to access in order to do that, how would you suggest someone start that journey, and also maybe comment how good ways to stay motivated, like we just talked about, and connect with other people during this time? You know, a lot of times you hear people talk about having workout buddies, but it's kind of hard to do right now. So what would you suggest for someone just starting out?
Well, Kim mentioned something earlier about getting on YouTube. When I first started my fitness journey years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. And that's a similar case for most people, I feel like. YouTube's a good way. There's thousands of videos on there, and most of the videos do show you correct form for the most part and stuff like that. So that can kind of help you get a good knowledge base of different kinds of exercises you can do. And then, like Zach said, writing down on a piece of paper your goals and stuff like that can kind of help you get more motivated. But I think YouTube would be one of the best ways to kind of get a good information base for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think social media can do a lot of misinformation as well. But if you look, I always recommend just kind of cross-checking your sources and seeing where it's coming from. So you can find great stuff on social media as well. And usually, once again, like that's all free, just free information. And then also, I mean, I got to give us a little shout out. The Y is offering a lot of virtual options right now. So we do have some classes to get people connected, small group training, and we are doing some virtual personal training as well. There are options, and I know a lot of gyms aside from us are doing, similar things like that as well. So there are ways and avenues of doing that. And then also just to reference what Christian said earlier and kind of come back to it, start with something small. Don't try to make your life do a complete 180. I mean, if you can add something, like he said, like a walk, that'd be a tremendous difference. And just knowing that you have that extra time in the day, add a walk and maybe a healthy snack, and then build from there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I'd like to address something else, and just so you know, we'll talk a little bit more about different fitness avenue, and then I think we're going to switch on over to how we deal with our youth fitness as well as our survivors a little bit, and then we can talk about how we're going to return to the word that I hate, some level of normalcy. But so. And this may be, Christian deals a lot more with our youth, but he also has a private practice, so he may be able to jump in on that as well. But I definitely feel that Kim and maybe even you, Kyle, can jump in on this. So I'm assuming that you not only get fairly healthy people that come and work out in the gym, but you may have some people with chronic pain and inflammations, just chronic health issues as a whole. But when they come into the gym, there may be a lesson concern because hopefully the trainers are aware of it. So they have a special, I don't want to call it, all I know is treatment plan on my end, but some kind of exercise plan for them. But now they may have lost their trainer, and they what could we tell the people that are suffering some and have to be careful about some of the things they do when they're on their own, trying to keep their exercise up? Okay. Obviously, I asked the question, so I don't have an answer, but
I cut out on most of what you said. I'm not having the best connection right now.
Okay, well, sorry, but basically, the people that come into a gym and they have some difficulties, whether it be chronic pain or what have you, they have to be careful on how much exercise they do, how much weight they put on. But that can be monitored with a trainer when they're in the gym. What would we tell them to do at home, keeping that sense of safety, but they don't have access to their trainer?
Well, I mean, with anybody that has, chronic pain, issues, physical limitations, they definitely need to be talking with their doctor pretty closely, probably a little bit more closely than they would their personal trainer, or even a physical therapist and stuff like that. But I mean, just a phone call, stuff like that, to keep in contact with people if they are currently working with a personal trainer, and they've been, already talked with their physician and stuff like that.
I would definitely recommend, yeah, consulting with a medical professional. It's important to, remember scope of practice, where you're at with a trainer, and, from a wellness standpoint. But the other thing I would say is a lot of trainers are, I would say, just in my experience, are pretty good at thinking on their feet and coming up with alternatives. If a piece of equipment's not being used or is being used and you need it. So maybe you're stuck at home and your trainer typically has you do a leg press, and you can kind of put your heads together and see what you have around to create that, or whatever therapy you're kind of coming up with. Maybe you don't have the resistance bands you need, but you can work with a towel or something like that. I'm just kind of coming up with bad examples here, but I think the point is still try and get in touch with the experts and the people that you trust in the field, and see what they can come up with. And then if you maybe aren't connected with a trainer yet, or haven't been training with a trainer, and you're just kind of new to exercise, but you know that you have physical limitations, I would do some research into those limitations and look for, as Christian said, some YouTube videos. There's a lot of physical therapists and other medical professionals that I'm seeing starting their own YouTube channels. So you'd be under the guidance of a health professional in a way, and you can look up your specific condition, and how to strengthen X, Y, and Z while, being safe and staying, under those guidelines.
Okay, so now we'll switch on over to youth. So, a lot of youth need exercise as well, and if for no other reason to get some energy out, but they need to stay healthy as well, and they're isolated, they're stuck with their parents. On our end of it, we're really afraid that the domestic violence and child abuse is increasing because of that. And the frustration of having a child constantly. I mean, I think we should have known what we got into when we had children, but the bottom line is we get breaks when we go to work, when they go to school, and so on. And right now, that's out of the question. But I know there's a lot of, like you mentioned, YouTube videos and stuff, and I think Christian puts together some videos for our kids, and I think I'd heard Kim mention at some other meetings that they were putting some stuff together. But when it comes to youth, I mean, how do you keep their attention? If it's not a video game, it's just like a phone call. They don't want to stay on there when you call them. How do we keep their attention focused on their health and their physical fitness through the avenues that we have now?
Well, with kids, they don't have a very long attention span, as you guys may have noticed. Best way to keep them active and to keep their attention on that is to find some way to make it a game. One of the best things I found with working with the kids is to find a different way to play tag or something like that, because kids can play tag for hours, and it gets them running around, short bursts of speed that they need to do, sprints and stuff like that. And like I said, I've seen kids just run around nonstop until they fall. So maybe have some families take their kids outside. On YouTube, you can just Google different games of tag to play. Ton of different variations that you can do to keep their attention. So I think that'd be a good route to go.
One thing I've seen a lot of, and a lot of it's just on Facebook or videos of just turn on some music and just start dancing. Kids seem to love to do that. Doesn't have to be organized. I'm the worst dancer ever, but just kind of shaking and moving a little bit and getting them active. One of the things we've been doing with our essential care camp is doing some of the dance videos, and the kids just are loving it. So they're moving around, you're kind of fooling them into exercise, kind of like what Christian was saying with the game of tag, playing kickball, even just some basic sport type things too, to just get them moving right now.
Great. So I think, Katie, I just heard Kim say she loves to dance. We have Dancing with the Stars coming up. So we'll have to keep that in mind.
I heard that too. I wanted to add one more thing to that, just as a mom, as a parent, trying to keep my kids active. My kids are both doing e-learning right now, and their gym teachers are doing great jobs of posting videos for them to complete online. And the other day, they were kind of hemming and hawing about wanting to complete those videos. So I said, what if I do them with you? And they got a huge kick out of that, because mom doesn't, do lots of planks and lots of jumping jacks and things around the house. So they thought that was pretty entertaining for them while they were doing their physical fitness, to watch mom doing it as well. That gave them a good laugh. So I think getting in there and including yourself in that routine too, so they can see that example is good. So
I agree.
So good advice, and parental interaction certainly will help. So that's great. So now we'll turn to our survivors of domestic violence. So recently we formed a partnership with the YMCA, which has enabled us to give our survivors memberships. And the whole idea was just to empowering them. I think it's the way to put it in a nutshell. But what the Y can provide to our survivors is, as far as getting them to feel better about themselves, getting them into socializing, getting them into physical fitness, knowing that their worth, and that their worth is just more than what they've been told it was. And like I said, the feeling of empowerment is great, and it gives them a little bit of sense of freedom. Because so many of them have been isolated for so long because of their perpetrator, their abuser. But now we're really concerned about what the COVID-19 situation is providing for another tool for abusers to control their victims. But if their abuser is gone, our victims are kind of falling back into that sense of isolation. So that's really, really worrisome. I would imagine that the advice would be the same that we've been giving everybody else, but what extra, or if any, is there any extra advice we could give our survivors to make sure that they realize they need to keep it going, especially once they got out of their shell?
That's a tough one. You hope that whether they just wake up and have that desire to do something physical, and kind of what we've been saying the whole time is make it simple, make it short, make it easy. Whether that's the first thing they do when they get out of bed is, do 10 jumping jacks, something physical. And if that's the easiest way to start, I know they probably need some advice and somebody helping them and telling them to do that as well. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is we don't have that avenue. Unless they do search and look at a video, or have a friend to call, or somebody that can help them with that. But yeah, just making it simple and easy is probably the best advice I've got for them right now.
But fortunately enough for the survivors we're working with, they're still working with our advocates. So that helps a little bit, but there's an awful lot of them out there that may be watching this. And so if you're watching this and you're in any kind of trouble or in any kind of danger, and you're being controlled by somebody else, give us a call. But I'm gonna venture out there. If you're afraid to call mental health directly, call the Y. They'll connect you with us. We all work together. We're all somewhat of a social worker, and we're all out to help people. So just get out there and seek out some help. And if you connect with the Y, they're going to have your name first, so they'll keep track of you and get you back in there to exercise as well. And we'll work with you to keep you safe. So, really quick before we go, and I do want. I'm going to want everybody that wants to give their website and emails to do so before we leave. But so everybody's talking, and Kim, this is probably going to be directly towards you and me as well, and Katie. But everybody's talking about reopening. Let's reopen the economy. it's a real concern to me because we're not anywhere as to knowing what's going on. We don't have a vaccine. Until we have a vaccine, I'm not going to be comfortable. And I hate the idea. I know we need to get things going. We need to get people back to work. We need to get people back out there, but we need to do it safe. And so I don't want this to be a political or economical decision, but I fear it's going to be. And I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it also kind of needs to be. I mean, a lot of people are going to go down if we don't get going again. But I imagine that both you guys have childcare as well as the fitness center. We were fortunate. Our domestic violence scattered housing already was practicing social distancing, almost like we saw this thing coming, but we didn't. It just happened to be that way. But our childcare, you and I both are running an emergency childcare. And I'll be honest with you, we've had groups of 30, 40, 50, 60 people, and we thought it was hard, but it was a piece of cake rather than we're down to groups of 10. And if anybody ever works with kids, some of us do, all of us do, trying to keep 10 kids with in some form of social distancing, whether it's 5 or 10 of them, is tough. It's really hard. I can only imagine when they try to reopen the schools, try to reopen the gym, how I can't imagine what's that going to look like. Have you guys been working on that some?
Yeah, we have a an emergency response team at the Y, and so our reopening phase, we have 4 different phases that we're kind of looking at. So stage 4 is obviously the in-shelter phase that we're in now. Phase 3 is kind of what we think when we get the direction from the governor that we can reopen our gym, we will be in what we call stage 3. And so the social distancing, we're going to have the plexiglass at the membership desk. We won't be scanning cards. We're not going to be allowing folks to borrow basketballs or borrow towels. We're doing away with quite a few of those services. In the beginning, we won't have youth programming. So there'll be no sports leagues. There'll be no group swim lessons. We're not going to probably allow children under the age of 3 in our Play and Learn Center, since they're the ones putting things in their mouth all the time. So it's going to look really different when we reopen. I can let Kyle speak a little more about the wellness center. I know we're going to be having every other treadmill, every other elliptical will be working, and the other ones will be unplugged and you won't be able to utilize those. So just trying to keep our members 6 feet apart as much as we can. We won't have open gym. There'll be no basketball. So it's gonna be really different. And we do have the safety of our staff and the safety of our members foremost, and just trying to keep that in mind as we allow people back into our facility.
Kyle, you want to touch base on that?
Sure. So as Kim kind of alluded to, we definitely have a different kind of set of rules for our reopening plan. For my 2 areas specifically, sports and wellness, those are probably 2 of the hardest places besides the play and learn area to really socially distance. It's tough everywhere. It's a new ball game for everybody. None of us, I think, were prepared for anything like this, but changing our cleaning procedures and cleaning schedules, making sure that, our staff, are being mindful and just engaging with members, but from a safe distance. And if they need to, remind them to clean something or help somebody clean something off, they're there to do that. Changing, I guess, the times of our scheduled classes to make sure that we have enough time in between each class to disinfect equipment and the areas. There's going to be markings on our floors in our Group X studios to allow for social distancing. As Kim said, there's going to be no open gym. We discussed maybe having 2 people per basket when we do even get to the ability to have basketball again. And it's going to be, your own ball. There's no sharing of, balls or anything like that. Just all kinds of things. Some of it's kind of up in the air. It's ever changing. And like we said, it depends on really what phase we open up in. But we are doing our best, and we're meeting pretty much daily, I would say, through the week to discuss, as an association where we're headed with this.
I know that your aquatic director is in regards to, as in concerns us, we were going to do swimming lessons this summer. That's still in a program, and I know the aquatic director is working on how that's going to look like. So I'm really excited about continuing to do that. And basically, we're doing the same thing with our facility and our staff. We're going to continue to stick to the social distancing. I guess the only other thing I would add, there were a couple things I would add. We're doing everything that you guys are doing the same way as far as our cleaning protocols and procedures. We also require all of our staff to wear protective gear at all time. And when we have children in, they're all wearing a mask and have to. They don't like it. We don't allow any adults in our facility in regards, or at least in part of the facility. We have our facility separated for the children area. And then there's still a couple practitioners that are coming in the other area, but they're not allowed in the children's area. None of the parents, it's all curbside. They don't get to come in. They weren't happy with it at first, but I guess the most important rule, and I imagine you guys may have somewhat of the same rule on a corporate level. I happen to, Katie and I can be the corporate side of it. We get to change the rules as we see fit. And you break the rules, you out, no questions. And no second chances. We're just not going to take a chance with that. Before we all give out unless anybody has any comments they want to make, we're all about to wrap this up. And before we give our website and email addresses, if we want to, I want to tell everybody that you need to continue, and if you don't know how, learn to express your feelings positively and focus on the positive things in life. That's going to help you both mentally and physically. Calm your body and your mind and learn to adapt on things that you cannot change. Keep your exercise, keep your routines. If you weren't exercising before, start. It's going to help you. You got a lot of great suggestions to there. The bottom line is, don't wait till you actually develop mental issues to start exercising. Start now. And even if you feel you don't have any problems, work out, and it can give you a lot of benefits and help you actually build the resistances to some future symptoms and disease. At least I believe so. Now, I'm not telling you that I have a cure for COVID-19, but we can build some strength against this. Actually, I could act like I do know what I'm doing. Yes, we've got the cure. Start working out. So, Kim, would you like to give everybody your website and email address if you want them to contact us? Or
Yeah,
contact
absolutely. First would be the Indy YMCA, so indymca.org, and that will take you to all of our virtual classes and all the different options that we have. Another thing we were talking about earlier is if you don't know where to start and you need to do something and you have no idea, we do have an email address, and we can set up a free virtual wellness advising appointment for you on the phone or Zoom. That is changemylife@indymca.org. And again, that's for a free virtual wellness advisor appointment. So those are just different options. Also look at the Witham Family YMCA Facebook page for, again, lots of family activities, kids classes, adult classes, different things like that. So.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And you can reach Mental Health America of Boone County at pfedigmhabc@gmail.com, or you can find us on our website, mhaboonecounty.org. And then I will let one of my coworkers tell you how they can access us on other social media, if either one of you wants to say something.
In order to access Mental Health's Facebook page, you can just search Mental Health America of Boone County, and we should pop up very easily. I also know we have our BASE program and our Young Scholars Pre-K program are also both represented separately on Facebook. So if you want to search both of those by name, BASE and Young Scholars Preparatory Pre-K, you can access those pages on Facebook as well.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Kim, or Kyle, a pleasure to meet you. Kim, as always, an honor to work with you, and I look forward to all of us working together for a long, long time out there. We're going to get through this, I guarantee you. Just, keep following the guidelines, stay safe. Even if you don't agree with it, stay safe and stay well. And we will be back on with this webinar series is going to continue. We'll be back on with something. We'll probably have you back on, Kim, talk about something, especially when we get closer to reopening. Again, stay safe, stay well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Nice meeting everybody.